our plan to have our athletic program comparable to USC, to Notre Dame, to Alabama, to anybody.
What's going on, Flames Nation? We are back, the Week 3 episode of the Sea of Red Football podcast, sponsored by Jason Porter Real Estate. And I am joined by the legend of the game, all things Liberty, all things Sea of Red, John Manson, with not as much excitement in my voice. How we living this Tuesday night?
Well, it's never fun coming off a loss, and fortunately we haven't had a ton of those losses over the last few years of doing this podcast. We have had a few more than I would like to have in the last 9 games, which we'll talk about more. But, hey, that's part of life. You can't win every game, every day, and you just got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, it is what it is. It stinks. I think we're all a little bit happier. We all like when we get to experience Victory Sunday and enjoy the Saturday and go to work on Monday and brag in the group chats to our friends that went to different schools and all the fun that comes with winning in college football. And it's just, we're 1-1. It's not the first time Liberty has been 1-1. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened Saturday. We're going to talk a little bit about what's to come. We're going to talk a little bit about what's been going on around Conference USA, because there's a lot to follow. There's a lot to look at, but it is what it is. Any initial thoughts, John, before we jump into my favorite ad in the whole wide world?
We'll get to it as the night goes on. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to break down from that loss, what went wrong. What went right? There are some positives to take away from the game as well, too, and what Liberty needs to do moving forward. We're going to talk about all that tonight, and I'm looking forward to breaking it all down. I kind of talked about it in our post-game recaps that we've had. Is Liberty really should have won that game, could have won that game. But we shot ourselves in the foot way too many times. I mean, you can't go on the road in college football, in conference, especially against the defending conference champs, whether they got a new head coach, new coaching staff, new quarterback, new running back or not, and have 2 turnovers, a turnover on downs, missed field goal, a touchdown taken off the board due to penalty. You add all that together, you're just not going to win many football games when you do that. I don't care if you're playing the defending conference champs or you're playing an FCS team. It's just not going to happen. So, but we'll break it down more as our night goes on. And I think there's things for optimism, and then there's also things that obviously need to be addressed to try to get things back on the right foot.
Yeah, and I think ultimately as we go through tonight, as we go through the season, anything we're going to say, anything you could say is not something that the people that are making the decisions, the players, already know. I guarantee you that they'd be the first people to go, yeah, hand up, we have to do better. And we've heard the coaches say it. I tuned in. Always check out the Sea of Red YouTube. They have post-game interviews, the midweek press conferences. Great to see it. And there is accountability. It's not like, we lost, we're going to be all right. So it's obvious, and pointing out the obvious kind of really, I don't know if that helps anything. But an obvious thing I do know is there's a little city in Florida, and it's the perfect lead into our first segment. Because if I could buy land in this town, I would. So we're going to hear from Leesburg, and then we're going to hear from Jason Porter, the man on the call, and John, and whoever the football player is waiting on the other side. I don't know who it is.
It's a surprise every week.
I love that.
All right, let's roll it.
It's real Florida. It's old Florida, and it's close to all of the Central Florida attractions, crystal clear natural springs, and one of the largest chain of lakes. The beautiful lakefront city of Leesburg offers the best in outdoor adventures, fishing, and quaint shops and restaurants on historic downtown Main Street. Come visit and see how welcoming a hometown city feels. Experience Leesburg the way Florida is meant to be.
It's always fun to have Leesburg. Yeah, that's Richie's favorite place to go in Central Florida. So good to go. Back this week, Jason Porter with us again, the man, the myth, the legend, as well as Jacob Jenkins, Liberty tight end. Jacob, take us back to Saturday. We'll start with some good news if we can. You were back at that's where your home state, first of all, and also where you started your college career. I'm sure you had a lot of friends and family in attendance. How was, outside of the 60 minutes on the field, how was it going back near home?
Yeah, it was a blast getting to have a lot of family there that usually can't make games just from distance point of view. But, it was also weird because that was where I started and kind of what college football was introduced to me as was that place. So, it was a weird experience, but cool experience, kind of full circle moment, God moment for me. So it was cool that I got a lot of family to come, and it was a blast.
Jacob, we once again had the joy of sitting through a lightning delay, and I think our fans are way too familiar with that. Although Jacksonville State the week before at UCF had a 3-hour lightning delay, so maybe we got off lucky on Saturday. Take us a little bit behind the curtain. What do you guys do during those lightning delays? The fans were running everywhere trying to dodge cover and stuff like that, but I kind of AY and I were kind of spinning it as a good opportunity maybe for you guys to regroup, talk a little bit of strategy, what you were seeing, that kind of thing. So I don't want to answer the question for you, but take us into the locker room during the delay.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. One of it's get off your legs, sit still, and kind of regroup, like you said. And it's also just like an extra halftime almost to where you can kind of see, like, now you've got a lot of pictures on what they want to do and kind of go at it that way. And so we adjusted a lot, but also kind of like we were confident in what we had in our game plan. So it was a lot of just getting the guys refocused and also not letting focus get lost and just sitting there not knowing how long you're going to be in that locker room. That's a big challenge that you got to do, is how can you stay locked into the task at hand and not get lackadaisical in anything. That's a big part. And then, of course, you make your adjustments based off what you've seen so far and up until that point. But also, we had to come out after that, get a stop on defense, and then try and go score right before half. So, it was a big possession that we were going into after that rain delay too. So I think ECU helped with a lot of prep on that. You can't really – that's the kind of stuff you can't prepare for. So, I just think I think we attacked it well coming out of that. So that's the big thing.
Yeah, the offense really played well after the delay and then into the second half, and a lot of that game put up over 530 yards of offense. Jacob, for you got dinged up a little bit there in training camp and got into the game against Maine in week one, a few snaps there, but we're back. You were back in the starting lineup and played closer to, I'm sure, what will be your normal snap count moving forward the rest of the season. How did that feel? Did you feel like you were back in game shape? How did it feel when you got your first hit and had your first catch? What was that like for you?
It felt good to be back. The body feels great. Lungs need a little work because I was sucking air a little bit, but that's just part of the game too. So it was a blast. Feel great. It was good to get a little contact in me and see how everything held up, and it was good. And it's just a physical sport, so it was good to be back out there, and I take pride in being physical when I play the game. So I was happy with how I was able to hold on and keep doing that, and it didn't slack.
Jacob, I want to focus on something that I think has gotten lost in the fact that you guys came up on the short end of the stick here. 534 yards of total offense Saturday. That was phenomenal. And it's one of those things when you see stat lines like that, you think, hey, how can you not win the game? Didn't happen. But at the same time, that's a ton of yards, no matter how you cut it. What kind of things were working well? Obviously, the schemes were solid and the game plan was solid, but what kind of things just seem to be productive when you get that kind of offensive output?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be able to win up front, and I think that's where like a lot we had that big run play with Evan Dickens that kind of put a big spark back into us. But I mean, it's well, we were saying it all Monday and in meetings is just how close we are to putting this whole thing together. Is because it's not like the yards aren't there or the run game's not there and the passing like the game was there. And I think that's also the frustrating part is the execution on the back end once you get in that red zone and you can get points away and walking away with none can that's the frustrating part. But I think it's encouraging almost that we're that close and that it wasn't anything where it was like a drastic thing that needs to get improved. So I think I mean, we had a lot of the run game line owned the run game, I think, for the most part, and just a minor hiccups that kind of killed momentum, like a false start or a holding and that kind of stuff that hurt us on the back end. But I don't think anything. I mean, you got to win your one-on-ones. Dante Lee with the ball down the sideline, stuff like that. I mean, that was just going all day that you don't really see Juju on the wheel, and that's the stuff. And so I think we did a good job of doing that, and I just think it's just the little minor details that it's once that clicks, I mean, we're going to be rolling.
Liberty has been, right there in the championship mix each of the last 2 years and been a very successful program for a long time now. And, this is the first time in now 3 years in Conference USA that Liberty's lost its season opener in conference play. Jacob, what's it been like the last couple of days as you guys have gotten back home, gotten back into practice, into game prep for Bowling Green? Just what's the mood around the locker room? What are some of the conversations that you're able to share that you guys are having as far as, trying to bounce back from that loss?
I mean, yeah, I think this week and this game is not Liberty versus Bowling Green. I think it's a lot of – I mean, this is a culture game for us. In our championship meeting for what we're doing this Saturday, Coach Lionel said it's a culture game, and I think that hit it right on the head is who's Liberty going to be. We hit adversity. It's earlier than we wanted. What team is going to show up and we got to win it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's when we got to win the game. And so I think you always hear like there's wins and there's lessons, but it can't be a lesson if you don't learn from it. So I think that's been the approach is learn from it on Sunday, Monday when we watch the tape, and then you got to flush it and you got to find a way to get better and take a look in the mirror at your own individual performance and what can you do better, and then piece the whole thing back together. And I think that's been the mentality in our locker room. I think everybody's excited to go show that like this doesn't define us in a way. So, I mean, there's a lot of noise. There always will be after a loss and even wins. So it's how can you re-hone on your strike the stone? Like that's our mentality. How can you keep going at the stone when it's not breaking? How can you keep striking it? And so that's kind of where we're at right now, and that's the mentality we've been taking on this week.
Jake, it's cool too. This time in the offense, granted, we're only 2 games into this, but it's amazing, and folks may not realize this, but 9 different players have been targeted with as receivers, which is a little bit of a different pattern offensively than the last couple of years. But when you've got 9 different targets offensively, you and Austin as the tight ends, and then obviously some of the other position groups as well, but averaging 266 yards per game right now through the pass game and 196 on the ground. It's a little bit of a flip flop from what it's been in the last couple of years. How does that shape up with the scouts so far from what you've seen Bowling Green? What do you like about the matchup there?
I mean, I think they're a good team. Like they went to the wire and battled with Cincinnati in week 2, and I mean, I think it's gonna be just confidence in ourselves and what we put out there, and trust in what the coach's game plan is and what we can do. I think Bowling Green is a physical team up front. They got 2 backers that are really good that fly around, and they got a DN and a corner. I mean, they got ball players, and I think the thing is just focusing on what we can control and just knowing the game plan and executing it the best we can is going to be huge. I think Vasco has done a great job. I mean, you said 9 targets in game 2. I think that's just confidence that we have in him and he has in us. And for him to sit there and go through progressions, which is not common as common as you think in a college quarterback. So I think that's something that you can build off of, and I think we're in a great spot.
Visiting with Liberty tight end Jacob Jenkins, as we do each and every week with either Jacob or Eli August, Liberty defensive back. And this segment is sponsored by RT Rogers. RT Rogers is a Liberty Liberty family owned business, and in West Virginia and the surrounding area. Great guys. I've had a chance to meet them, and they come to most Liberty games, home games, and we're grateful for their support and support of this channel and Liberty University as well. Jacob, tell us a little bit more about RT Rogers.
Yeah, for over 50 years, their family-owned and operated oil company has been powering homes, farms, and businesses in our community. Whether you need residential or commercial propane and heating oil, generators, or expert service, we've got you covered. We also offer top-quality commercials and agriculture fuel tanks, lubricants, and equipment, plus wholesale opportunities that help your businesses grow. Trust the experience and dedication that only a family business can deliver. Call us today and experience the difference.
Definitely be reaching out to RT Rogers with any oil needs you may have. Jacob, last question for me, and maybe JP's got one more before we let you get out of here. As you kind of look ahead to Saturday, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but what about the trip? What are some things you're looking forward to, just as far as getting back out there and traveling, getting in the plane again? You had the opportunity to do it this past week. Jax State, first time of the season. What are some of the things you look forward to when you're traveling with the team?
Yeah, I mean, traveling is just huge in college football, and it's huge for your team development almost, is because you're put in this area, in this scenario that maybe not if you're playing a home game and you're just stuck in a hotel, you're hanging out with guys, you're talking to guys you maybe not talk to as much, and you're sitting next to them on a plane. So it's a good team builder, and it's fun. Like, it's always fun. Meetings are always high energy, teams getting ready for a game. So the guys are all just excited and connected. And so that's the fun part of it, is the relationship side of everything. And you get to see guys like what they're like almost at home and that kind of stuff, just outside of your like our football facility. So yeah, it's always fun traveling. I love it. And I think it'll be good too, because it's another away game. And how are we going to respond on the road after a loss on the road? So I think away shows your culture, and it builds culture too. So.
Awesome. Jacob, just real quick, as kind of a final thought, tell us a little bit about the tight ends room and how you guys all have a good, healthy camaraderie, but also some friendship and just the brotherhood that are the tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, I love our tight end room. It's probably been my favorite tight end room that I've ever been a part of so far in all 75 years of college football I've played. I mean, we have Austin. Austin's a 6-year like me, and I think so me and him are kind of the leaders in the room. Then we got Caleb Bryan, who's a walk-on that we inherited when we got here, and he's great. He's a great guy, and he's a great ball player, and he's come along, and like, he's tremendous, and the growth he's had from day one to now. And then Bo, Deuce, and Eli Sisson, they're all great. And I mean, if you were watching the game, we played 5 of them, all 5 of us in the first quarter, which is not many tight end rooms are doing that in the nation. So it's cool, and it's good because it gets younger guys experience, like Deuce and Bo, and Caleb's taking a bigger role this year. He played 20 snaps against JSU, and so it's great when you have it. It gives me a little more peace. Like, I'm not gonna have to take 75 snaps. Austin's not gonna have to take 75. Like, we got guys that are in the room that are reliable, and so it's been great that everyone's owned their role too, because that's a big thing, is keeping guys satisfied in today's college football. And like, for our room to be okay with their role and own it and be excited about their role is huge. So yeah, I love this room. I got a little story. We Coach Dutt, we had a couple bumps and bruises in fall camp, ups and downs, as every position group does. And Coach Dutt was a little frustrated, and so we told him we had his back, and it became like this big thing. So like, in our talent show this year, we had tight ends made like a shirt that said "We got Dutt's back," and it was like on our back, and it was a big thing. He hates it because he's like, I like to fly under the radar. I don't like my name at a certain decibel, and we always scream it and mess around with them about it. So, yeah, like I said, it's just tight end unity, and like we're proud of how close our group is, and we're also proud with how we play on the field together and how many of us are capable to run out there and play. So, it's definitely a blast.
Good stuff. Appreciate that. Good story. I did notice several of you guys out there on the field early Saturday, and I think it's something we'll see probably a lot this season. But thanks, Jacob, for your time, and we'll look forward to cheering you on Saturday.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Thanks, JJ.
Always good catching up with those guys, and that was a good story Jacob gave us there. But JP, we were talking a little bit before we got on air, and you mentioned deferred maintenance. What is that all about?
It's almost a cuss word in real estate, John, to be honest with you. But it's something probably all of us homeowners are guilty of, and it's those little projects that start to add up over time. And it came to mind to talk about tonight quickly, just because I've got there were a number of showings in the last couple of or a number of deals in the last couple of weeks that I've been involved in. And it's really come back to bite some sellers. And really what it is just not taking care of their property, taking care of their home. And it's some of those little things that, as I said, just start to add up. And the problem with that is, of course, when you go to market and you go to put your house on the market or your property on the market, some of those deferred maintenance items really become glaring. And it looks like people aren't taking care of their house or something along those lines. And so whether or not you think they're small or whether or not they are small, as they begin to add up, deferred maintenance really can be detrimental to you in the long run. So offer this before and want to continue to offer this. My contact information is on the screen, but I've got phenomenal subcontractors out there, handyman, all kinds of things, and all the different trades. And so if you're looking for somebody that can help you with some of those deferred maintenance issues, whether it's plumbing, electric, GC, or just whatever the case may be, I'd love to serve Flames Nation in that respect as well.
Well, good stuff. I learned something new tonight. So thanks, JP. I appreciate you. Didn't get a chance to see you in Alabama. Maybe I'll see you in Ohio this week, but always appreciate you and your time joining us each and every week.
Yeah, I don't know how we missed each other with that delay, and I apologize for the non-team apparel here. I should have sat a little bit more appropriately.
All good. Sounds good. We know what team you're rooting for, JP.
That's right. Thanks, John. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, man. Always good hearing from those guys as we bring Richie back in. There you are. You didn't go too far.
I didn't. I had to go run and get a phone charger because I had 11%. So
yeah, we
can't I got to be able to keep up. No, I got to keep up with the show and what the schedule is. And next on the schedule, we're going to talk about the Jacksonville State game. Now, John, you and I were in pretty much two opposite places for the game. John was obviously at the game. Jacksonville State, I assume, is in Jacksonville, Alabama, right? That's the name of the –
yeah.
Makes sense. I was in an Atlantic City sportsbook. So two total opposite places of where we could watch the game. So probably a different perspective when you're there kind of at a game as opposed to when you're somewhere else watching it at home, not hearing – the sound, which is a unique way to watch a game because you're not hearing that announcer insight. You're not hearing kind of what's going on, which is the way I took the game in. And you alluded to it before. Obviously, you can't let up that many big plays, that many yards, shoot yourself in the foot that many times. But offensively, I thought there was a lot to be, I'm not going to say excited, but to look at and go, all right, hey, we have something going here. It's not a both sides of the ball thing, but I thought moved the ball well. I think there was like 9 different Flames had a catch. 2 guys are around or over 75 yards. Horner, the guy I said last week was next Flame up, had a breakout game. One of my roommates called me, who follows Liberty from a distance. He's like, "Where'd this kid come from?" I'm like, "Great question." He was like 4 on the depth chart. We're starting the season, so it is great to see there is depth. Turtle's being optimistic. You know what? Even when we are going through it all, Turtle can find the time to be optimistic. But I said there's 500 yards offense. You're going to tell me that we had 500 yards offense. I'm going to say we won the game.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought we would have won the game by multiple scores.
Yeah.
It's such a weird game, and driving down there, and then you got 8 hours in the car driving back, just me and Chad, and that was a lot of fun.
You should have recorded that.
Yeah, we had some group therapy sessions going on. It's tough. It's disappointing. But it's hard to try to, process what happened in that game, because if you look at the stats, like you said, if you would have told me we scored or had over 500 yards of offense, and Vasco threw for over 300 yards, we rushed for almost 200 yards, and we held them to 50 yards passing, I would have been like, man, we dominated the game. But that just wasn't the case. And I was, going back through it, I think on Sunday, and really where we lost the game was the first 5 drives, both on offense and defense. Our defense was playing phenomenal those first 4 or 5 drives. They gave up the 1 touchdown that was off the fumble when they had a short field. I think it was a 40-some-odd yard drive. There was 1 bad play on that. I won't, lie about that. It was a bad play. It was about a 31-yard run. Should have been about a 3-yard run. He broke a couple tackles. Looked like we had him down. I kind of even glanced away from the play thinking we had him stopped. And next thing I know, he's sprinting down the sideline to get down inside the 5-yard line. Then they punch it in. But other than that, they punt it.
Yeah.
On offense, we came out. It was not – things did not go well. Second play from scrimmage on the offensive side of the ball, Vasco – is kind of stepping up into the pocket, moving around. And I'm thinking in my head, as I'm sure a lot of us were, you got to get rid of this ball, or you got to escape, because you can't hold on to the ball. I don't know the time, but we just have that feeling, and he's got to have that feeling. And he said,
the internal clock.
You got to have that internal clock. He said it afterwards, but he didn't. He got hit from behind as he was going to get rid of it. Fumble. They take it down and score. Then on the ensuing kickoff after they scored, Juju makes a bonehead decision to return that ball from the 1-yard line in the corner on the kickoff. He only gets to the 5. I can't recall ever seeing a kickoff return to the 5 when it wasn't fumbled or something crazy happened. So then our offense is backed up. We go 3 and out real quickly. Again, the defense holds.
And it's you think of that field position, you get momentum, but.
Yeah, and then we come back and go down and score a touchdown. Anyways, at the end of those 5 drives, as good as our defense had done, our offense didn't take advantage. We had 2 turnovers, set them up to get that lead 14-7, scoring off both of those turnovers. But, really the defense played pretty solid, especially prior to that weather delay. And even afterwards, they gave up the 30 yards and they made a 50-yard field goal, 50-some-yard field goal. But it really comes down to just shooting ourselves in the foot. All those things I mentioned at the open, that we just, shot ourselves in the foot, and we weren't able to recover. And you're not going to be able to do that against a good football team. Yeah,
it's the momentum killers. It's the missed field goal. It's not picking up 4th down. It's those plays that, when that opposing offense comes back on the field after that, they have all the momentum. They have everything. Gavin Wimsatt, whatever his name is, he was Rutgers quarterback. He can't throw the football.
No.
So it was just like, he can't throw the football. It reminded me of the Michigan-Oklahoma game where it was like, Bryce Underwood can't throw the football. Make him throw the football. And I'm not a coach. I'm not going to pretend to be a coach, but it was definitely that, hey, we got to stop the run. And hand up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hand up. I was hoping for more from the defense. I said it. It is what it is. As I said earlier, I mean, it's not a secret. No one's saying, no, you're wrong. We're playing great. The coaches know that. The players know that. It's not a surprise to anyone.
Yeah, that was my biggest disappointment in this game, even more than the loss. Yeah, obviously the loss was bad, was the defense's play. I knew all week going into the game. We talked about it on the podcast, the coaching staff knew it going into the game that if you stop Jacksonville State's run game, you're going to win that game. That the whole key to the game was our run defense against, they ran for almost 400 yards against us last year. I know it's a new system, new coaching staff, new players, but we know, like you said, better than any of us, Wimsatt cannot throw the ball. He can't pass. I watched that UCF game. He could not complete a pass. I would, put our corners on islands, let them, go one-on-one, dare them to throw the ball, stack the box with 9-10 guys. I mean, again, I'm not a coach either, but you cannot let them run for over 300 yards of offense. And it wasn't like they got a bunch, 3 and 4 chunk plays where they had 70-yard runs. No, they just consistently got 5 yards, 8 yards, 12 yards, 6 yards. Maybe popped a 20 or 30 yarder here and there. It was very disappointing, disheartening to me. And honestly, and I don't want to take away from Jax State either. They're a good team. They're better than I thought they were.
Yeah.
That running back Cam Cook is a stud. He's a stud. He may be, he's obvious, him or the Western Kentucky quarterback are in the driver's seat for Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year or MVP or whatever it is they call it now. And he's a stud. I think he'll be the best running back we face all year. But getting gashed like that when you knew that was going to happen, Coach Chadwell talked about it too. That 2nd and 20 play in the fourth quarter, it was winning time. Our offense was answering the bell. We went down 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Offense came right back and scored quickly, got it back to 7. Then they had a 2nd and 20. Offense a holding penalty. It's 2nd and 20. You got the momentum's kind of shifting back in your favor. And you got a 2nd and 20 against a team that can't pass the ball. You got to get off the field. It's fourth quarter, 8 or 9 minutes left. You have to get off the field. They bust an 11-yard run to make it 3rd and 9. Then we got a illegal substitution when they're trying to go tempo to get it 3rd and 4, and then they pick up the first down. You lose games that way. And it's so frustrating. And I don't know who to blame. I've had people ask me. I see it in the chat. People are asking, who do you blame? Ultimately, the buck stops with Coach Chadwell. He's responsible for everything within this team. The defense has not gotten it done. They didn't get it done Saturday. They didn't get it done in several games last year. We were sold on in training camp, the improvement and the potential that this defense had, and it let the team down Saturday. Now, I'm hopeful that there can be adjustments made, but I'm moving into the camp after Saturday. You have to prove it to me before I'm buying into the defense showing any amount of improvement.
John, I love that you use the word buy there, because I think it's time that we maybe buy and sell some stock. It's Flame Stock Watch time, where we buy and or sell some things related to Liberty football, Liberty life. And I'm gonna go first because I have 2. Buying stock in Caden Williams. I agree. Great player. I'm shying away from the players. I'm going to do my first. I'm selling the fact that making someone else look bad doesn't make yourself look good. That calling people out, saying things, it doesn't make you feel any better. So I get it. People are upset. I understand, but I'm not the call for someone's job publicly, celebrate someone getting benched, all of that. It's just it's not a good look. And I'm selling the. I understand it's okay to be disappointed. I've said that I'm disappointed. We're all disappointed, but I just think it's hey, we get it. Some of it's just, and it is what it is. Every fan has the right to say it, but I'm just selling it. Not me. Too positive. Richie Longshots. What a story.
What a story. I think, it's okay to be frustrated. I think we should be frustrated at this point in time. I think it's how we handle those frustrations. And look, Liberty wants the athletic program and the football program to go to that next level, to be at the highest level. So you have to, if you want that, you have to be willing to take some criticism and to accept some criticism. You're going to get it. Nobody likes to see it, to read it, to hear it, or anything like that. But, that's just, it comes with the territory. I think to sit here and say, somebody needs to be fired here in week 2, that's going a little bit far. I do think that, again, I got to be careful what I say, because we got a long way to go.
It's week 2. It's week 2.
It's week 2. There's still at least 10 games left on this season.
Yeah.
On the schedule, potentially 11 or 12 games. Let's see how they bounce back. But it is a little bit of a trend from even 2023 at times, but really from the last half of 2024, hurting yourself and then the defensive struggles. So I know a lot of people talked about, oh, you got to go and make changes to the defensive staff. That's Chadwell's call. If we get to the end of the season and it goes like it did last year, then I would expect him to make some changes. I don't know what those changes would be, but that's his job to make those changes. And we'll just have to wait and see how the season plays out to see what those changes should be and see what changes he makes. As for what I'm buying stock in Jamie Chadwell's bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
Chadwell has gotten it done everywhere he's been, from Division II to low-level FCS to Group of 5 at Coastal Carolina to Liberty. He's gotten it done everywhere he's been. He's had rough patches. There was a patch in 2019. He went 1-6, lost 3 straight, won a game, lost 3 more, went 1-6. He bounced back from that.
To go with it, next year was the mullet year.
Won 12 straight games. Go in 2020.
Who ended that streak?
Who ended that streak was the Liberty Flames.
That's right.
In the Cure Bowl, just so everybody remembers that. But he won 12 straight games after going 1-6. Had the team ranked in the top 10, undefeated. College game day was there.
Yeah.
Go to 2022. He lost 3 straight games at the end of the season. That was when he was leaving Coastal and came to Liberty, won 13 straight. Now, I'm not sitting here saying we're about to run off 12 or 13 straight victories, but we could. I wouldn't be shocked if we did. I don't expect it to happen, but I'm buying stock in Jamie Chadwell. He's figured it out everywhere he's been. I trust that he's going to figure it out here. I hope he's figured it out this week.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he's making the changes needed to figure it out, whatever that is. Again, he's the guy that we pay the big bucks to get the job done, to figure out what changes need to happen. And until proven otherwise, I'm going to trust that he's going to figure it out, that he's going to make those tough decisions to figure it out. And then we just have to sit back and wait and see what those changes are and if they work and when they work. Hopefully it's this week.
Exactly, because we got JMU and Old Dominion coming up down the pike, and not to look too far ahead, but one more thing before I give my last stock is that, and I tweeted this. I said, "You fire a coordinator in week 2, who do you bring on? Like, you're then just bringing in someone that's already in that room. So I don't know what the benefit is of firing someone week 2. So that's just me kind of going like, all right, I don't know if that's going to work. This isn't a Florida Billy Napier situation to go, maybe this isn't the guy. So Chad's right. Kathy's right. Buy the stock in Dickens. I gave that last week. He's my next man up, I think. Sell the kickers as a former kicker, but I get it.
Coach, before we move on, Coach Chadwell did say in his press conference Tuesday morning that kicker job is now an open competition once again. So hopefully we can figure it out. But you can't miss kicks, 27-yard field goals.
No, I'll give you a 27-yarder tonight. That's not. I'm not even exaggerating. I'll give you a 27-yarder. I got eligibility, coach, and I'm cheap. Last thing, I'm buying stock and having your baby shower at noon when the game is a 5 o'clock kickoff. So, God willing, I will be home with just a bunch of who knows what in time for the 5 o'clock kickoff. So definitely schedule those Saturday events that you definitely have to go to. Schedule your apple picking early. Look at what the schedule is. I did not plan that. I just got very lucky. I had no say in the matter, but it worked out, and hopefully I'll be able to jump in and watch. So we got Bowling Green, and John, you're going to the game?
I am going to the game. We got Bowling Green coming up, heading to Ohio, a place I have not been, a state I have not been in a long time.
I went to church camp in Ohio after my sophomore year of high school.
Okay. It's been a long time for me to be in Ohio, but I am going back there this weekend and see if I can get this thing figured out while I'm multitasking. But we're going there. It's an interesting game. I listened to the Flame Central podcast here yesterday, I guess it was, and was talking to Matt Warner this morning at practice, and he had a comment which I have to give him credit. He got it out into the public before I did, saying that in his opinion, this is a must-win game. That was one of the things I told Chad. I said, this may sound a little crazy. Yep. This was on Sunday in the ride back. I said, this is one thing that's going to sound a little crazy, but and I hate to say it, the term must-win game is so overused, overhyped, and it's really not a must-win game because we could lose this game and still have the season that we want to have as far as winning the Conference USA Championship. It's a non-conference game.
Yeah, but it's that culture piece.
100%.
It's the culture piece. That's what – yep.
You heard Jacob Jenkins talking about that just a minute ago, and it's just from a team morale. Like if you go and lose, and what's coming next too on the schedule, if you go and lose to Bowling Green, a second straight game you're favored in, now you're 4-6 in your last 10 games. Players aren't forgetting what happened. The ones that were here last year, what happened at the end of the year. If you do that, then you start to question yourselves. Can I get the job done? Yeah. Are we good enough? How good are we? And then you turn around and you have to play a team like a JMU coming off a bye week. Mm-hmm. JMU team coming off a loss, a game they thought that they could win at Louisville. A JMU team that's very talented, the most talented team we'll see on the schedule all year. And then the next week you play another talented Sun Belt team in Old Dominion on the road, an Old Dominion team who also has a bye week the week before they play us. And that's not a place you want to be. You don't want to be 1-2 going into that stretch, those next two games, because you could come out of the month of September 1-4 if that happens.
We said it last week.
You don't want to be 1-4 going into October in conference play.
No, agree wholeheartedly. Also, John, sorry, I messed up our order, and I know we're supposed to be talking about the Conference USA right now, but I feel like it flowed well.
We can get to it after we talk Bowling Green. All good.
Yeah, but Bowling Green, coached by Eddie George, NFL Hall of Famer.
I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame. Maybe he is. He's a Heisman Trophy winner at Ohio State, multiple years at All-Pro, and he's actually been a successful head coach. He was at Tennessee State, the last 4 years, I think it was. Yeah,
he got him to the FCS playoffs, won a playoff game. You see more and more schools following the Deion trend. You look at Deshaun Jackson is a head coach. Obviously, Deion, Eddie George, Michael Vick. They're getting guys that could just be the figurehead, the CEO, to just kind of just make the fourth down decisions and shake hands and kiss babies. I think he's a little bit more than that. And it seems like a cool story that he's done things the right way. I did a little bit of Bowling Green research. They have a quarterback who's been around for 6-7 years and played at Notre Dame, correct?
Yes, he's been at, I think, 4 different colleges. He began his career at Notre Dame. He was there for 2 or 3 years, and then he went to he was at one other school. It's slipping my mind right now. But, yeah, this is his first year at Bowling Green. He's put up solid numbers, especially last week against Cincinnati.
They played well.
You saw there on the slide, they opened up against Lafayette. FCS team kind of controlled that game, got the first win of the Eddie George era at home. And then this past week they lost to Cincinnati. I think it was 34-20 was the final score. Mm-hmm. They did get behind 21-0 in that game. They didn't have much success running the ball, but they were able to pass with some success. Their defense was solid, really good against the run. So that's going to test us. So we'll have to see. What the game looks like. It's a game that, back in August, back in the summer, I thought we would have been a multiple touchdown favorite. I thought we would have pretty much, we're going to win this one. I'd be more concerned about looking ahead to JMU, but coming off a loss and seeing what Bowling Green's done in their first 2 games, I don't feel that way anymore. I still feel like we have more talent than them. Across the board, we should win the game. We should be favored, but you still have to go out on the field and put it all together.
Yeah, John, I'm going to be honest. I haven't even looked yet. What is the spread?
6.5. Last check.
Right, touchdown. Yeah, you know what? That's what it was last week. So
that's exactly what it was last week.
Yeah, good run defense. Pringle 20 tackles. Yeah, they seem to play the run well. At the same time, don't run the ball great, but passing is obviously a huge part of the college football game.
Well, I'm looking
today.
forward to seeing how our defense goes up against a team that's more pro style, more passing centric. Now, don't get me wrong; they can run the ball, and Eddie George, running back, he, he's looked at that tape against Jax State, and is like licking his chops, like,
he wants to put the pads on himself.
Oh yeah, 100%. So they're going to try to run the ball against us and see if they can have some success. And we need to stand up to that success. But I am looking forward to seeing. We haven't really been tested so much in the past. Much, a little bit against Maine, a few times against Jax State. But let's see how good this secondary is. Let's see if we can get pressure on the quarterback with our defensive line, which we do have some injuries there. Most notably, CJ Bazile, doubtful for the game. We'll see if he can play. He had a right toe injury, a foot injury, suffered in the Jax State game. So, I'm intrigued by that matchup to see if they do pass the ball 30-plus times like they did against Cincinnati, which hopefully means we're playing from ahead. Then how does our pass defense hold up?
Yeah, I mean, what do we have? 2 interceptions against Maine? 1 interception?
We had 2 turnovers. I think it was a fumble and an interception.
Yeah, so the opportunities are going to be there. Big chance for the secondary. See what? Oh, it's their homecoming.
It is their homecoming.
Bold.
Wow.
Players seem distracted by families and all the events around them. Sorry, I'm terrible. If you are listening later on and I'm just reading things off the screen, processing. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to everyone who's tuning as well. Thank you.
Lots of comments. Y'all keep them flowing. We'll do our best to share them, but y'all are putting them up there so quickly I can't get them all on there. But yeah, it is their homecoming game, and so it's a game we really need to win. And I hate to call it a must-win, but it is close to a must-win in my mind.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's more of a must-win than a can't lose. Just for the overall culture and the vibe. So we got our first conference game in the books. It was the only conference game last week between 2 Conference USA teams. Conference USA, respectable last week.
As we look around the conference. Yeah, I think it was a respectable showing for the league. Most notably, New Mexico State beat Tulsa. 21-14. That was a good win for them. I'm intrigued, and we'll talk about it. I guess we can go ahead and talk about it. New Mexico State's at Louisiana Tech this week. That's the only conference game this week. I'm intrigued by that game. I want to see how both Louisiana Tech and New Mexico State look. I think they both have a chance to maybe push into that upper half of the league. So whoever wins that game, I think, you got to keep an eye out for. Also, Missouri State beat Marshall 21-20.
Shout out Missouri State.
Yeah, I got back to the hotel after our game Saturday night and watched the fourth quarter of that and saw them they scored a touchdown late to get the lead. But shout out to Missouri State. It's a nice win for them. Marshall's obviously down this year after their coaching change. But a good win for Missouri State.
Yeah, and even you mentioned La Tech. They didn't get embarrassed against LSU. I didn't watch the game. I just look at the score. You didn't get embarrassed. 23-7.
I've been impressed by their defense early on. I think they shut out or held their FCS opponent week 1 to 7 points. So yeah, it was definitely a good performance for them. Like I said, I'm intrigued by both Louisiana Tech and Mexico State. I want to see what they have. I think the biggest shocker to me was a Western Kentucky score. 45-21 at Toledo. That was a game. I think Toledo was favored by a touchdown or so. I thought Western Kentucky was gonna cover that spread. I thought they had a chance to win the game outright. I kind of expected them to win the game. Toledo played Kentucky week 1 and played them really well. So Toledo is obviously a good team, but week 1 and 2, Western Kentucky, or week 0 and week 1, because they've played 2 games already, they dominated Sam Houston. Who's 0-3, by the way.
Yeah.
And then they all dominated their FCS opponent. I think their quarterback threw for over 400 yards or close to it in both games. So for them to go and just get blown out by Toledo was certainly eye-opening to me.
Yeah, I was in the same boat. I was expecting a closer game. Toledo, obviously one of the better teams in the G5. Yes, Turtle. FIU, I watched that game that was on one of the big screens. They really didn't play terribly. Like, you can very easy to look at the score, but 34-0 is not. It was like 7-0 in the second quarter. Like, it wasn't a whooping.
Yeah, it was very close. I think that game was going on during our game, so I was kind of following the score a little bit. And I remember seeing 7-0, 13-0, I think, at some point in time. So they held Penn State to a few field goals. So I'm looking forward to seeing, how FIU looks. This week they got FAU at home, so that could be a game that I'm getting some breaking news right now, so I apologize.
Is it news you can share?
Yes. Liberty basketball, breaking news. We have a breaking news thing. It's probably out there now, but Liberty basketball just picked up a 4-star commitment. Top 100 recruit Eli Sankum has committed to Liberty, 4-star, 6'5" combo guard. So I got to get on that once we get off this podcast. So that's huge for Liberty. Obviously, the highest rated recruit in school history, 2026 guy. He had named a final. He visited during the main game, had visited then his official visit that weekend. He had named a top 5 of Iowa, Colorado State, St. Louis, Liberty, and Loyola, I believe, are the top 5. So
yeah, number 1 basketball player in the state of West Virginia.
Yeah.
4-star, 102 overall.
He was a West Virginia Gatorade Player of the Year as a junior, led his team to the state championship.
Yep.
6'5" guard, maybe a point guard, wing. So anyways, didn't expect to have breaking basketball news right in the middle of the podcast, but I'll have an article on that here in a few minutes once we get off the podcast. Back to football. What were we talking about?
We're talking about next week and who is going to be our next Flame Up.
Perfect segue.
All right, next Flame Up. Who do we think is going to be the guy that's going to take that next step? Not to brag, but hand up.
You nailed it.
I nailed it. Absolutely, just
Evan
incredible.
Dickens, and he had over 100 yards rushing, 50-plus yard touchdown run. You nailed it last week. Who you got this week?
I have his name is Nathan Paroli. And I think I'm saying that right because when you go to the roster, you can click to hear how the name is pronounced. And it's actually pretty funny because it's the players doing the announcing their name. And if I knew this was the case, I would have done a blog post in the beginning of the year breaking down who just did it the funniest because they say their name, where they went to high school. I had no idea until I clicked and went, who's this guy? I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I have some like secret game film or secret knowledge. I looked at the box score and I saw that he's a defensive lineman, and with the injuries that we have right now, that he's someone, Jarvis is hurt as well, that I think he could be a guy to come in. I saw he had 2 or 3 tackles last week, and you can tell me if I'm an idiot, but I don't know. That was just a name I saw, and played D-line and had some tackles and went, that's the guy.
No, I mean, he's a former – he may still be a walk-on. I know he began his career as a walk-on. It's hard to keep up with who's a walk-on, who's not these days when your roster limit's now 120, and so it's hard to keep that up. It used to be the 85 scholarship limit, so I'm not exactly sure if he's still a walk-on or not, but that's actually a really good one. If Jarvis doesn't play, Paroli could get his first career start. He'll certainly play more than he has been playing, but he's been a part of that rotation. There's a lot of guys. We've heard a lot about the depth of the defensive line. If you got 2 starters down this week, we're going to definitely test it this coming week. When you go up against a MAC team, like what are those MAC teams like? They're physical.
Farm boys.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like mini Big Ten, right? Where they like to run and pound and that sort of thing. So your defense line is going to be tested, especially if you're down two starting defensive linemen. That's a good one. We'll have to watch out for Paroli on Saturday. Mine is Dante Lee. Dante Lee has kind of quietly had a really good first weeks. He was one of the breakout guys during training camp, and he's followed that up. He's been the guy getting the most snaps at wide receiver by quite a wide margin through the first 2 weeks. He has a touchdown catch in each of the first two games. Yep. That touchdown catch he had against Jax State on Saturday down the sideline, Vasco had a beautiful ball to him and hit him right in stride. And when Dante was, running at full speed down the sideline, it was right across from me where I was sitting. He just looked like NFL level athlete at that wide receiver, just long, lanky, big, long strides. He looked legit. So I want to see us, utilize Dante Lee more as well too. I also talking about utilization. This is not my next flame up, but I want to mention it. I want to see Juju Gray be utilized more in the offense. I know he's struggling in the kick return game. We talked about
that Bedgood type role almost.
Yeah, he only had 2 carries on Saturday against Jax State. Only had 2 receptions. One would have been a third and another touchdown that got wiped off due to penalty. But Juju is a guy that should lead us in all-purpose yards. He needs to have more than 4 or 5 touches a game. He needs to have double that. Let's get him double-digit touches in a game. Not that we got. I think we have a lot of playmakers. That's one thing I'm pleased by, at least this past week. So, I want to see Juju get some more touches. But yeah, Dante Lee is kind of my next flame up.
I'm in. You sold me, John. But we'll see. Last week did a good job, but we'll see. We'll see what happens this week. Excited for it. It's nice to go back and say, hey, how did our predictions do? And at the same time, while trying to make that prediction for next week. So, if you're someone
question here from CJ. CJ, we did mention this earlier. Go back and listen to it from the beginning. Is there possible there be a change at kicker? Coach Chadwell did talk in his press conference today that's an open competition this week between Braden Beck and Jay Billingsley. So we could see a change there at kicker. Another good question here. Sorry, Richie. Is Blue not healthy? Hadn't heard anything about him. Blue got banged up in week 1, only had 2 carries. He was listed as questionable this past week, but got onto the field. And, he played, but again, only had 2 carries. So I'm not sure.
You got to ride the hot hand.
Yeah.
Dickens was the hot hand. I think we're going to see that a lot.
I think Dickens and Caden Williams have just gone past him in the pecking order of carries. At least at this point in time, that could change as the year goes on, but kind of think that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, it's a good position to have depth at. That's for certain. So we'll take it. So we're hearing some fans, hearing from the fans. We hear from the fans. We put out some tweets. Everyone was very lively. Is that the right word? Lively?
That's a good word.
Everyone was quite lively over the last 72 hours. So let's see what the fans have to say.
Yeah, we had a lot of conversation, and we'll try to put out a tweet on ASOR Podcast channel. Make sure you're following us over there. Sometime after the game, either Saturday or Sunday, depending on timing and that sort of thing. And just asking for your comments, your hot takes, your opinions, your questions, and if they're good enough, we'll try to feature them here in this segment each week. We kind of call it the fan pulse. But, a lot of questions and comments about defense. Something is very wrong in defense, very obvious. Our run defense is more porous than a spaghetti strainer. Interesting. Not sure if it's poor coaching on assignment duties, poor tackling, or just an inability to read offense. Another one, we gave up, 364 yards rushing last year to Jax State. This year, the quarterback he can't throw, gave up 338 yards rushing. Not good at all. It was bad last year when we couldn't stop the run game. Kennesaw, UMass, thought it was a new year, some changes. So basically, run defense. I think we kind of talked about that a little bit. Anything else we need to add there, Richie, you think?
No, I mean, again, it's you don't need to – it's not an elephant in the room when everyone knows it's in there and it's been addressed and everyone's aware of it. It's beating a dead horse for the elephant in the room, just going with the animal puns. I I don't like the comment. I love college football. Always has crazy analogies. Like people come up with wild stuff. So that spaghetti one kind of made me laugh.
I love that one. I love that one.
I
Yeah.
don't know if it's on your list, John. I saw someone online say that going to the Fiesta Bowl was a bad thing. And I'm like, this can't be a serious take.
Yeah, and there's also people saying Chadwell needs to be fired too, which, if you're saying that, you're either just a troll right now, or I don't know what else to say. That
I don't know I don't know who you get, what good coach is like, yeah, let me go to the school that just fired the guy that went to the Fiesta Bowl. Like, there's no one good that's gonna be like, yeah, let me leave my really good job to go somewhere that at that point would be volatile. So it's.
Some more comments about offense and quarterback. I'll read a few of these. The offense played best on up tempo. Vasco looked best in that role. Fumble, interception, muff exchange, all at QB arguably contribute significantly to that loss. I don't think there's any arguably to it. Could Merdinger be that much worse? Don't we also have one of the highest rated QBs out of high school buried in that mix? And that's one thing, and I know we just talked about a high school recruit in basketball, but you can throw out the high school recruit rankings once they get on campus. I know we're talking about Jaden Bradford here. Just throw those out. It's about how you perform, how you look in practice. And if you're not impressing your coaching staff, then, it doesn't matter that you were a 4-star or led IMG to state championships or anything like that. So I think it was telling that Ethan Houck, the true freshman, was the third quarterback on the travel roster, and Jaden did not make the trip.
Yeah, and in basketball, if you can shoot 60% from three, you're it's very translatable. I feel like it's easier to make that transition as a freshman than it is in basketball than it is with football. So I've never been a guy that puts stock into high school recruits, and obviously it's great, getting guys that have talent, but it's not the be all end all. And
especially in football, like most of the time, it takes these guys 2, 3, 4 years before they even see the field. Yeah, and so we'll see. Comment here about Ethan Houck. I think he'll be the guy in year 2. I don't disagree. I'm hearing the same thing. I'm hearing the same thing from coaches and people close to the program. So Vasco's got another year of experience, and I know people have been down on Vasco. Vasco threw for over 300 yards. We did not have a quarterback who's now been benched throw for 300 yards last year. Yeah. So that was the first time since 2023 we had a quarterback throw for that. Now, that being said, he's got to clean up the errors, the turnovers. You cannot have virtually 3 turnovers if you include the turnover on downs.
Yeah, the fourth down.
You can't do that, like we said multiple times. So if he can clean that up, I think he's a good quarterback for us. I think he can get the job done.
Yeah, in this system with the weapons he has around him.
Yeah. Hot take: our special teams, especially kicking game, is unacceptable and deplorable. Surely that's something most of us can agree on, etc.
Yeah, that's not the hottest take in the world. Like,
yeah, no, I agree.
No one other than like maybe Jerry is going to go, it's a pretty good kicking game. Like,
so Juju making the bad decision on that one kick that he only got out to the 5 that I talked about early on tonight. Like, that's one thing. But then there was a second kick that was almost exactly like it, and he still brought it up. And the whole time it's in the air, and I'm watching where Juju's at to field it. I'm like, surely you're going to put your hand up for the fair catch. He didn't, and I think we returned it to the 13.
Yeah, and I get you want to make a play. He's got big play ability. I'm not going to discredit that, but it's important to know the situation and know, kind of have that field awareness of what's going on. Because 95 times out of 100, it doesn't get housed. But if you would have housed it, we would have been singing a different tale.
Okay, here's a hot take. I'd like to hear your thought on this one, on coaching criticism. Our coaches are getting out-coached every week, especially on defense.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here, like I said, pretend to be a coaching expert, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So I don't know what schemes looked like going into Jacksonville State or anything like that. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a big X's and O's guy on the defensive side of the ball. But yeah, if you can out-coach someone and still lose a game. you can get out coached and still win a game. So I think that that's a piece of the puzzle, but I don't think it's the entire puzzle.
Yeah. It's interesting. I do think like a lot of the struggles, and again, 4-5 in our last 9 games, and you go back and look at who those losses were to, Jax State twice, Kennesaw, Buffalo, Sam Houston, and then the wins, against, Maine and, Middle Tennessee. I don't. Western Kentucky. I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting one. Anyways, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
That's just not good enough. You can't go 4-5.
Agreed. Our standard is higher than that.
Our standard is higher than that. 4-5 is not good enough against our schedule.
Yeah.
And with the level of resources that we have, it's not good enough. It has to be corrected. That doesn't mean somebody needs to be fired or Coach Chadwell's on the hot seat. I'm not saying that, but it's not good enough. We need to correct it. We need to correct it now. This week. Our standard's higher than that. But again, it's one game, it's one loss. I do think, I think we should. I just want to say this about conference champion. We're getting kind of long tonight, but that's fine. It's a lot to talk about. But I think talking about conference championship, we need to talk about that because that should be our goal each and every year.
Absolutely.
And I think it is our goal this year. It should still be our goal. But we could win out in conference play, win our last 7 games in conference, which is a big if based on what we saw already so far this season on the field. We could win out, go 7-1, and not make conference championship game. Because if we do that and Western Kentucky and Jax State win out and then they meet each other the last game of the regular season, then depending on how that game goes, we could be 7-1 and lose a tiebreaker to 7-1 Jax State, and Western Kentucky could be undefeated, for example. The likelihood of all that happening is not very high, but
agreed.
That's just the boat we're in right now. So it's an uphill battle. I said it last week. If you lose this game, it's an uphill battle to get back in the conference championship picture, the conference championship game. So we need to realize that, but I don't think the door is shut. And I think Toledo beating Western Kentucky gives me a little bit of hope that maybe Western Kentucky's not as good as maybe we thought they were.
Takes a stumble somewhere. And, it's college football. Crazy things happen. Weird things happen. You can't predict it. They play the game for a reason. That's what makes it. We've got Brian Kelly required her decision. Definitely good. Yeah.
Yeah. What would your thoughts be if we go 1-4 to start? Would this be considered a rebuild year? Here, a question here from Dan. I hate to even think about what it would be like if we go 1-4. I don't think we're going to go 1-4. I certainly hope we don't go 1-4. It's hard for me to sit here and say how I would feel at that point in time. Obviously, it's a rebuild year, yes, but you're in the 3rd year of this coaching staff. We shouldn't be having a rebuild year in year 3.
And if we're 1-4 and then rattle off 6 straight and go to the Conference USA Championship game, it's not a rebuild year anymore. It could be to an extent. So I think there's we have some fun out of conference games coming up, but I think 3-2 I'd be very happy 3-2 going into conference play, and we have a favorable schedule, so it's not.
If you told me we were 3-2 at the end of September, today I'd take it. I think it's it's going to be a fight to get to that. So I would take it. I said it back in the preseason, like September's tough. Like it's going to be tough to come out of here unscathed. It's going to be tough to come out of here with just one loss. So, but I do like we said then, like you just said, is, I think we have a chance to if we can, stay the course, build some confidence and some momentum, which has to start this Saturday, then the schedule lightens up for us. And once we get into October, November, we could be hitting our stride. And we need a little bit of help now to get a conference championship game, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. That's like I said, it's the beauty of college football. We'll see. John, anything you got left?
No, I need to go out here and get this
do the
basketball stuff.
I got to see what's his name again?
Eli Sancom.
Eli, yeah. I saw him, Coach McKay.
I heard you close the deal.
That's the rumor. I got to talk to Coach McKay real quick outside of the Virginian, and just told him and his family how Coach McKay does such a great job, not just building athletes, but truly building student athletes, so that when they leave Liberty, they go on to do great things. So, I mean, I don't know how you say no when you got Kyle in the building with Coach McKay and all of them and that. So excited about that. Excited to have another Liberty football game this Saturday. Excited that we get this opportunity to talk about Liberty football and that we get people that tune in. Make sure you check this out. Obviously, you're checking it out, but subscribe on YouTube. We're over 1,000 already, which is awesome. I mentioned it before. John's got all the post games, midweek press conferences. He does sometimes just some long form videos, brings in CT, unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight. So great stuff going on.
Don't start any rumors about CT. You know, he's ducking us after our first loss. Didn't want to face the heat and the criticism, but
people are trying to fire people. Like, you fired CT. It's not good.
He has an excused absence. It's all good.
Yes, definitely an excused absence. So on behalf of John and I, thank you so much for tuning in, and we're hoping to see you next Tuesday night with some more smiles.